Alright, so you want to ombre your nails. How the fuck do you do it? Two colors that will go well together, that will complement each other nicely. Your nail, I'm using a swatch stick. Two eyeshadow brushes. And then your dip liquids. As you can see, there's a line down my swatch stick. I drew that to act as our visual guide of where we are placing the powder and how we are going to be manipulating the powder. Obviously, when you go to do your nails, please do not draw a line on them because this line will more than likely be visible through the final product. But if we're practicing, feel free to draw a line on your swatch stick. I drew it on the underside, any bleeding onto my top coat brush, base brush, if you're using base, which you should, please. Have fun with all these filler words as I go to apply it. So, the first thing I will do when I am getting ready to do my nails is I will line the colors up to which side I want them to be on. So for all intents and purposes right now, yellow will be on the right, blue will be on the left. I'll make sure I have my two brushes ready, and then I'll apply my base layer. We usually tell you guys to apply thin layers. This I will apply slightly thicker than usual, only because I want to give myself some work time. Now, I'm going to take my eyeshadow brush, now that my base is on there, and I'm going to scoop. I like to hit the bristles as I apply it on, and I'm going to apply it on up to that line. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to cross the line a little bit. I do this a couple of times because I want to make sure I have it fully coated. And then I turn and dip off into the right color, pick up the next brush, do the same thing. I like to hit the powder down. I don't know why. It's just what I do. And I do it a couple of times, even though like it sticks after that first time, just a force of habit. And boom, this is where I am. And guess what? We'll take our fluffy brush and we'll brush it off. And oh my gosh, look at how sheer that is. It's like you can't even see anything. That's how you know you picked the right colors, because now we are going to build it up. I started with my yellow. Now I'm going to start with my blue. So again, I'm grabbing my base. I am applying it to my nail. I am picking up my blue shadow, my blue brush, and I am tapping it, making sure to get everything on the blue side of that line, and then ever so slightly going over it, because it's that crossover that's going to give us that ombre effect. I turn my nail while I'm doing it to make sure I'm getting all the sides, and I do generally kind of try to tap off the excess into that its own jar, so I'm not mixing my jars, and then going and grabbing my yellow. Yes, I overlap it. I overlap it when I do the next color, because why not? If there's ability, if it sticks, great. If it doesn't stick, which typically it won't, that's fine too. I'm here. We brush off. Ooh, look at that. We go in for our third coat. Again, applying base. We know her. We love her. Picking up that brush that I'm using for my yellow and tapping it so that I'm going to that line and then slightly over that line. I have a fan on, so I am aware that my powder just travel a little bit. I'm turning my nail to make sure I'm getting all the sides. Then grabbing my next color. I do line them up. As you can see, it's in vain because I do just end up kind of pushing my jars around. It is what it is. Do what works for you. Now I'm here. Now I brush. This is 3 coats technically. Could you stop here? Absolutely. I like to do 4. I like to go one more round where my second color is the first to be used. Why? I don't know. I also will just kind of look at the nail. Right now, looking at it, it's slightly more yellow than I want it to be. I'm not getting a lot of that blue. So I'm going to be more intentional on the blue this go around. I'm going to make sure I'm getting blue where I want to see that blue. And I'm getting the color payoff I want. Now that this is also a risk we take with using sheer colors, is that there's a chance that most of my yellow is going to look green and most of my blue is going to look green, because they're mixing in that middle and creating that green color, and it can overtake. So when we're allowing the colors to cross that line, we should be more intentional. You can be more intentional with how far you're letting them go. I like the kind of unpredictableness. That's not a word, but let's go with it. Unpredictability, there we go, of where ombres can take us, because they are being done by hand with powder kind of just falling wherever the fuck it wants to fall. I find beauty in that. So if it's not perfect, who gives a fuck? They're your nails. But before activating, this is what we're looking at. I am happy with this. If these were my actual nails, I would do a coat of clear on top. Only because when you go to buff, you don't want to buff away and file away all the work you just did. And that's what will happen if you don't add clear. So, say it with me. Let's practice safe dip and use protection, which in this case is a clear coat of dip. However, this is a swatch stick, so we're going to raw dog it. I'm going to activate. I'm going to hit it a couple of times with activator. Not because I need to, but I kind of want to try to get that shiny look for you guys real quick. And you can see that blend. You see that green. You see the blue on the sides, the yellow on the sides. Yes, this one turned out slightly more green, but it can be controlled. It's just depending on how far past that line you let your colors travel, which is why practice makes better. Practice on swatch sticks. Yes, swatch sticks are great and you can use them for, swatching your pretty colors and finding the right colors. But you can also use them to practice new design techniques. If you don't want to use your swatch sticks for that, and you're somebody who uses tips, full color tips, get one of these. I don't know what they're called, but they come with little detachable things and putty, and you can stick a tip on top of it, and you can pretend that tip is your finger, and you can practice with tip sizes that you don't use instead of throwing them away. There are so many things that you can use as a tool to practice. Please, please, please practice.